Servus, Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. Today I want to talk again about the gas pipeline project Nord Stream 2. That is a gas pipeline that goes from St. Petersburg, Russia, through the Baltic Sea. It is an underwater pipeline into Germany and thus into Western Europe. The USA, or I should say the US government, or I should say some people who control the US government, they are very much keen on burying this project. They want to fight it tooth and nail. They want to do everything in their power, these globalists, in order to prevent this from happening. This is, of course, an old pattern that we're seeing here. It is the nightmare of the USA that Russia and Europe could have friendly relationships and actually get along. So they try to divide and conquer, to drive a wedge between European nations. All right, I made a video already about this. I link it down below, or on YouTube I try to put an info box that you should find in the upper right hand corner of the video with my previous talk on that, where you find a map of the area and it's described a little more in detail, the background. And in that video I already described how the USA was intimidating a Swiss special company that provided a construction vessel that was laying these pipe segments on the bottom of the ocean, and the intimidation worked. The Swiss company was bullied by the USA out of their contract, and now Russia provided an alternative construction vessel. They came up with their own vessel, which is pretty impressive, I think. But now the United States government, they are increasing the pressure and they're continuing to escalate this. That means that they directly called now the involved companies in Europe, and they told them in detail that they will be facing severe consequences if they continue to fulfill their contracts, if they will uphold their contracts. They did not talk, to my knowledge, they didn't talk to the governments of Europe or of Russia, but they are trying to target the companies and try them, intimidating them, and like they will say, oh, you will not have access to the US market anymore. We will intimidate the banks that work with you so that their banks will drop these companies. They will no longer be able to work together with banks because these banks cannot afford to lose access to the American market, of course. All right, so these are very aggressive, bully-like tactics, and I want to talk in this video about why the USA are doing this, why the official version is, of course, a lie. That is an absolute lie, and feel free to disagree with me in the comments down below. If you are a Joe Biden fan, if you are a George W. Bush fan or an Obama fan, then of course you can make your argument, you can post it down below and I will listen to what you have to say, but I will tell you my side in this video. Okay, so first and foremost, the USA are saying that it is bad for Europe. It is bad for Europe that we're buying gas from the Russians because they can't be trusted and they're evil. Problem is just that according to the sources that I have, and you can check that for yourself, the US is importing more oil and gas from Russia than Germany or Europe, for example. So if they want to impose sanctions and if they don't want people to buy from evil Russian corporations, then why don't the US start by themselves and stop buying energy, gas and oil from Russian sources? Why don't you do that then? Why do you force other countries to stop buying from the Russians and you yourself, you buy that cheap stuff? And I already mentioned in my last video that in fact the USA is trying to sell liquefied natural gas, LNG, to Europe. And this stuff, as I said, liquefied gas, right? It is transported by dirty diesel ships over the Atlantic, and then there are these ports where these liquefied gas containers are unloaded and where it is then fed into the inner European pipeline system for gas. All right? And this stuff is way dirtier um, as it is, you know, refined and produced in America. And it is also, I think, twice as expensive as the gas that we currently get from Russia. And then the other part of the thing is Europe is not now starting to buy gas from Russia. We have always been buying gas from Russia, or not always, but I mean for a very long time. And this thing is called Nord Stream 2, so there is a Nord Stream 1 already, right? And by the way, and now we get more to the core of the issue, because what I told you so far is true. It's not wrong, right? I mean, the Americans want to sell their liquefied natural gas, yes. The Europeans want to buy gas and do for a very long time already buy gas from Russian sources, just not via the Baltic Sea with that throughput, let's say. We want to increase the amount of gas that can flow through the Baltic Sea. There is already a pipeline, but we want to build a bigger one, right? All right. So, but where is this gas coming from? And this brings us closer to the actual reason, in my opinion at least, why the US is against that. And when I say the US, let me bring that up one more time. I don't mean US people, of course. Like when Angela Merkel or the European Union is doing something, it's also not the Germans or the Europeans. Yeah? It is our leaders, and they're not always acting, or seldomly acting, in our interest and with our blessing, let's say. But this is how politics goes, representative democracy, right? So when I say the Americans or the US, I mean the Trump administration and their handlers. They're the people who control them. Yeah? Okay. So now the gas, as it stands now, a large amount of it comes from Russia through the Ukraine and other transit countries. And these transit countries have contracts for transport, right? They're not producing the gas, they're not refining anything, they're just passing it through their country. And they are recompensated for that service, that they provide the pipelines that bring the gas from Russia to Europe. And now the US says, oh, and by the way, Russia can't be trusted because they are known to just, in the winter time, they just turn off the gas faucet, right? And then the poor Ukrainians with their cold winter, they are without energy. Yeah, but what is the story behind that actually? In that or prior to that story, it has to be said that the Ukrainians were repeatedly stealing gas that was meant to go to Europe, that Europeans paid for, and they were stealing that. Yeah, they didn't pay for it. They just used the gas and they said, oopsie, it's gone missing now. Yeah, and then they made up a reason like, oh, we need that for maintenance purposes, blah, 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 but it wasn't in the contract. Bottom line is they were stealing. And at some point, Russia had it with them and they said, look, either you pay for it or we are actually decreasing the gas flow. And this is what happens then. And the whole thing escalated and the Europeans complained. The pressure in the network was going down, blah, blah, blah. And it got solved in the end. Yeah? But it is not that Russia was doing this power play which is projection on the side of America, I think. This is what America would do in order to make other nations bow to their will. Russia didn't do that. Russia responded to a contractor that was stealing from them, okay? And they gave them a fair warning. All right, that was that story. Now, the most interesting part comes now. And that is, as you all know, the son of Joe Biden and his activities in the Ukraine with certain Ukrainian gas companies. It's not just the Democratic Party. It's not just Joe Biden. There are more businesses and more people, powerful people in the United States, that are invested in the Ukrainian gas and energy. industry, in that industrial sector. And of course, they want the gas to continue to flow from Russia through the Ukraine as a transit country to Europe. They don't want to be bypassed because, as I said, Ukraine is not reliable. They steal. This is why the Russians and the Europeans want to build this bypass. And this is our right. We have the right to buy energy from Russia, and we have the right to build a pipeline in the Baltic Sea if we want to, okay? And the US has no business dictating us where we build a pipeline and from where we who we sell to and where we buy from. This is our own business here in Europe, okay? We're not telling the Americans what they can import from Mexico or what they're allowed to export to Canada. We don't care about that. They are friends and allies and partners, officially at least. So we leave them to decide that for themselves as an American nation. And in the same way, the European nations, or if they want to, together as the European Union, they have the right to look on the world market and who's providing what, and then we buy it. Okay? And there are some select people who got filthy rich, with the chaos they created in the Ukraine, and they were, just getting involved there, let's say, probably with some secret service, yeah, with the help of some government institutions and with the military probably, and they got filthy rich. And now the Russians and the Europeans, they wanna, you know, go against that, or they wanna take away part of that business at least. This is why I think, personally, this is the main reason I think that they don't want that. They want to strengthen their positions in these transit countries, and some of the people who are very high up in the American government, or at least have control over them, they have a business interest here. And this is not for the protection of Europe, it's not for US strategic interest. It's a couple of people who get rich. This is my opinion. There are other reasons, maybe some strategic partnerships with the Ukraine, maybe, but I think it's mostly the business interests of these powerful individuals, these oligarchs, right? These Western oligarchs or globalist oligarchs. Okay, so to sum up, Europe now wants to have this pipeline built. There are 160 kilometers of over 1,200 kilometers still missing. The thing is damn near complete. And now the Americans want to increase the pressure. They are bullying and intimidating individual contractors, individual corporations, in engineering service companies, who service these pipelines and who build stuff and who finance them and to insure them and so on. They go after all these companies now. And I want to tell you the truth, this behavior, exactly this ruthless, disgusting bully behavior, they have no right to do that. This is against all norms of international trade, of international contract law, whatever. I'm not a lawyer, but this goes against all the rules that we normally hold dear. And these filthy, dirty lies, that, oh, it is for your own best interest, you are yourself buying from Russia, okay? And then, oh, it is because the Russians aren't reliable. BS. It is the Ukrainians who stole it. Yeah, that's how it went. And this is just nonsense, okay? It's just a couple of billionaires who are getting rich from this, and they're using the state, they're using the US government enforcing their interests here. So this is a misuse of state power right there. And this stuff is exactly the reason why some people are anti-American, yes. And maybe I should say that towards the end. I was living in America. I worked there. I pay taxes. I have a lot of friends there. I love the American people, especially the people from the Midwest, who have Scandinavian and German ancestry, but also the others. It's a great country, great people. I enjoyed my time there. I really want to go there again. I have nothing but love for the people there. But the stuff that their government does is disgusting, okay? And, my own government is no exception. I'm criticizing my own government all the time. And I also don't like it if people say the Germans did this and that. Yeah, okay. Angela Merkel is popular here, yes. Otherwise, she wouldn't be chancellor. You can't fake elections at at this scale. Yeah, you can maybe 3 or 4%, maybe, but not 20%. Yeah, I don't believe that's possible. So yeah, many people in Germany are idiots. This is why they vote for the CDU, and many people in the US were idiots for voting for Bush or for Obama. And I would say, yeah, Trump was the smaller of two evils when he stood in the election in 2016 against Hillary Clinton. But this nonsense continues, right? He's no saint. Trump is not the ideal president, okay? What he's doing, and this is a prime example of this stuff, this is shady stuff. This is criminal stuff. This is really bad stuff. And it's actually not in the interest of the American people to do that kind of stuff. Yeah? Because, if Europe gets along with Russia, that's actually a good thing. Yeah, some people in the U.S. government or in these security circles, they're always warning Europe from Russia. Wouldn't it be the best if we have an integrated economy, or not integrated, but if we have a lot of business relationships, a lot of import export, because this is what prevents wars. This is what actually makes nations more peaceful, because they think twice before they slay the goose that lays the golden eggs, right? If you have a lot of business relations, then it's really hard to fight a war without pissing off, all the industry in your country, all your businessmen, or all your import export companies, all your manufacturing companies. They don't want that. They will petition, they will lobby for peace, for a constructive, good relationship with your neighbors. Yeah, this is probably the most efficient way to make peace, is to have a lot of business involvement, a lot of business deals, a lot of economic relationships between blocks and countries. This is how it's done. Okay, so I think I made my case here, and let me know, if you think Joe Biden is great and what he did in the Ukraine, with these gas companies is a-okay, and all the other guys who profit from that. If that should dictate your foreign policy, and if the billions that these few individuals are making is, you know, the is a good reason for dictating your foreign policy and making them bully other countries, yeah, then make your case. I'm really looking forward to that. And with that, I want to say goodbye for today. It's a rainy day outside, but I am under house arrest anyway, so I can't go out either way. So I don't care about the rain unless the roof isn't leaking, which I hope it doesn't. Okay, catch you guys again later. Servus, Kameraden.